if the money wasn't there, if it wasn't proper money, he wouldn't go to Saudi Arabia. So it's a combination of a flawed belief system, perhaps, that by going to Saudi Arabia, it keeps him active, keeps him relevant, keeps him evolving, and will bring him back to the attention of those that may employ him in the proper football league. I think that's a flawed thought process.
Well, you said it was a footballing decision yesterday, and we know that you believe that going
I
out.
didn't say that.
Well, you said there was part football decision because it would be there wasn't many other offers on the table, and therefore he went out there to keep his skills honed.
Active, yeah.
Yeah. But should he not have been a little bit more patient and waited for an opportunity in this country? Because it's not beyond the realms of possibility that the jobs are going to come up over the course of the next 6 months. We know what happens in the Championship alone, for example. Would that not be a better option for him if he wants to stay in the national consciousness?
That's where the finance kicks in, isn't it? Because if you don't have another opportunity there and then in front of you, you can sit back and wait, sit on your hands if you like, doing nothing, and the job doesn't come for 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. And you could have been 6 months working, although not at the level. You're still decent. I'm sure they'll have a decent squad of players to work with, but doing something and getting paid an absolute fortune for it. So it makes financial sense. But I don't. We were on the show when I think we talked about when he refused the first opportunity, and I think that was probably because there was something possibly in the pipeline that tickled his fancy.
Another club.
Yeah, that didn't materialise for whatever reason. And when you're left in a position with only one option, you can't then hypothesise about what might come along. I do take your point, being patient sometimes is a virtue, but football's, it's ruthless.
Someone eventually is going to take a chance on Steven Gerrard.
15 Championship managers lost their jobs last year.
Within the season, yeah.
So if you make your arguments that if economically it's not a challenge for him, then if you believe that his footballing motivations are to be a football manager and to manage at the highest level that his capabilities will take him to, right? Then you know that a window of opportunity is going to open, and you're going to close that window by going and signing a longer term contract with someone else.
But why can't if the right opportunity or window opens, as you put it, why can't he then navigate his way out of Saudi to come and do that?
Isn't there a restriction about how long you have to stay there in order to get your money?
Without being taxed, you mean?
Mm.
Well, if it's not about money, pay the tax and just come back.
I mean, I make the point, and who are we to criticise? I'm not criticising his motivations at all. I'm not suggesting that he doesn't go and collect money, because we're in the business of people want codes to do things for money, and anyone that sits there turning their nose up at it and being a bit facetious about it would be the first person to probably do the exact same thing as what he's doing.
Yeah,
but my view is it's not a football decision, and if it is a football decision, then the benefits that he thinks he might get from it aren't going to be the ones that I think are going to be the outcomes. That was the key thing
yesterday. Your point was that if you were a football club owner now and he went away and did well in Saudi Arabia, it wouldn't change your opinion of how your view on whether to hire him or not.
I would look around me and say, who's current in the orbit of where I am? So I'm owning Palace in the Championship again. Who's around that's been doing Championship football? Who knows Championship football? Who's availed themselves of the league itself and either coached in it, managed in it, or shown some degree of understanding of it? I know Vincent Kompany is the fly that everyone will bring out of the ointment to suggest that that's not necessarily a major requirement, but he's the exception that doesn't necessarily prove a rule. Hence the reasons why Leeds have gone to Daniel Farker, because he got Norwich out of the Championship. And I think you want to be part of a conversation. I get the perspective, but he's not going to be working over there in an elite football league, advancing elite player knowledge.
No, I did say on Monday.
And so I think it's money move. I think if they turn around and said, well, tell you what, come and manage over here for Championship salaries, right, he wouldn't have gone.
No, and I did say on Monday it'd be naive of me to think that the money isn't a huge factor. I'm just saying it's not the only factor. My belief, without fact or not without knowledge, is that if there was an opportunity to compare it with here, that he would have done it. So otherwise, he's sat at home doing nothing.
Is some of the motivation a chance to go in with a blank check, dictate the setup, the recruitment, start from the beginning, and actually learn a little bit about the whole ethos of running a football club? Well, because I understand that the setup isn't perfect out there. It's
another experience that won't be comparable to maybe a Championship side or Premier League side in lots of ways, I'm sure. But I think coaching, I've coached kids now for a few years at different levels, and if you said to me tomorrow, come and coach my boys under 16 team, I'd do it no problem and it'd be smooth. It'd be a nice transition. Give me the topic, I'd do it. And that's because I've been coaching for a few years, even at a lesser level. So you become better at something the more you do it and more comfortable. And he's probably really frustrated with his time, with himself, with his time at Villa. So therefore, in some ways, you can go over there. And Simon, you're probably right. Fail or win. Opinion doesn't deviate too much from those back here. So maybe he can tweak, try things there that he wouldn't be able to try in a pressurised job here. Maybe he can do a few things differently, change his philosophy a little bit, work on some things he hasn't done before as a coach in a pretty...
But unless he's... I mean, I suppose it's all relative, but unless he's solving the problems that he was unable to solve, he's not playing in a style of football and in a league of football that's going to present him with the same problems that he was unable to overcome when he was managing in English football. So what does he gain? Unless you're confronted with the same problems and then testing out different philosophies or a different response to them because you're being put in a situation where you've seen that situation before. He's managing, maybe he'll get a couple of elite players, right? It's not an elite league. Each team's going to have a splattering of star players, that Harlem Globetrottery sort of effect, but we're not really dealing with serious high-end, top-end football. So I wonder, with that narrative, that ultimately he gains much from it besides keeping himself active and maybe keeping his mind alive.
I think problem solving in big game pressurised situations isn't going to be the same. But what you could argue is that Steven's general philosophy at Rangers transferred to Villa, and it was a quite dynamic, narrow system that he didn't really deviate too much with. And actually, if, for example, and I'm just going off the top of my head, if he goes out there and thinks, you know what, I want to change that. I actually want to try and play out from the, be a bit more possession-based. You know, have a bit more width in the team, be a bit more expansive. I want to try to do something different. It's a great environment to do that, and you'll see it translate from the training pitch to the pitch.
So there's got to be no resistance to it, is there? But there'll be no resistance to that. And so it'll be an easy...
Resistance from
the quality of opposition that he's playing against will allow
we don't know what level they're at in that league.
Well, it's not great.
No, I don't mean the level of the league.
Supporters-wise, you're not going to get the resistance, are you?
Correct. The pressure's not the same. But you might have a situation, Simon, where, say, he's middle-of-the-table type standard and someone else is managing the Man City and Arsenal of the Saudi League. He's going to have some problems to face against better opposition, or he's going to be the better team and he's going to have the ball all the time, where his system, the way he played at Villa and Rangers, isn't particularly conducive to that. So it's...
And then he's going to come back to a fiercely competitive league with having... not had the challenges,
but with 30 million in his pocket. So
so it goes back to the original statement, which is and God love his soul, it's a financial move.
Okay, others making the financial move as well include Roberto Firmino, who has joined Saudi Pro League side Al Ahly on a 3-year deal after leaving Liverpool, and he might not be the only one.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.